Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. This week we're at the Red Bull Ring for the 9th round of Season 16 and the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Justin and joining me once again, it's Andy.
Yep, it's great to be here up in the Styrian Mountains, high up, here for the Austrian Grand Prix, round number 9 of the championship. We had a cracking race last time out in France, which in the end was won brilliantly by CRG Evo. Probably one of his best ever performances, beating VSR Simon on the final lap. Well, it is always a track, this one here in Austria. It provides excitement, 3 DRS zones, several great overtaking opportunities on the track. It promises to be a thrilling race today, Justin.
Yep, really looking forward to that one. And as you said, a fantastic race last time out where CRG Evo actually won the race from 11th on the grid after starting on a brand new set of, I believe it was soft compound tires that were one of the harder tires that you could start on. And it was an absolutely incredible drive and a truly fantastic race. Really enjoyed that one. Lots of good overtakes, lots of battling as well. We are, as I said, at the Red Bull Ring, which has 8 corners or 9 corners or 10 corners, depending on who you ask and when you ask them, so it's a bit of a difficult one. I'll be using the track map with 8 corners for this one, because honestly, that's my preference, but just having to look back at some of the highlights, some of the incredible racing that we've seen at this circuit in the past at Apex Online Racing. The tires available for the drivers today are going to be the softs, the super softs, and the ultra softs, the yellow, red, and purple marked tires. And we'll see what kind of tires people are going to be going for. We're going to be seeing what kind of weather we have in store for the race as well. Alvaro Caraton with the track record pole time with a 1 minute 4.951. If it's a dry qualifying, certainly I would expect that to be improved upon. The track record for the race time was Formula Danny with a 41 minute 27.6 second race time last time for season 15. This is how the track looks. There are the 3 sectors, 10 turns according to this map. Again, it all depends on who you ask and when you ask them. And all of those DRS zones, and there's the elevation changes as well. Let's have a look at the hot lap with Andy, actually.
Here we are riding on board with ACR Raven as he takes us for a spin around the Red Bull Ring, home of round 9 of the AOR Hype Energy F1 Leagues. Climbing up the hill to start the lap and into turn 1, braking at 100 metres and dropping from 8th gear into 4th for what is a really short apex. Now it's important not to scrub off much speed as you begin the long climb up the hill, through the kink of turn 2 and into the braking zone of turn 3, dropping from 8th gear down into 2nd. Now this is the summit of the circuit, some 60 metres above the start-finish straight, but it's all back downhill from here, opening up the DRS and going down towards the braking zone of turn 4, which is really tricky. Got to hug the inside like your favourite granny. Don't let the car run out onto the curb. You want to avoid that as you now go flat out through turn 5 into the area where the racetrack comes alive. Into the blind entry of turn 6. 5th gear through here, accelerating into turn 7. Throw the car in and then get spat out as you go on to turn 8. Now 2 corners left of what is the shortest circuit on the calendar. Here comes Raven into turn 9. 6th gear, incredible speed through there. The prancing horse gallops round the final corner and up to the line to complete the lap here in Spielberg.
All right, and we're gonna have a new feature actually today where we're gonna take a look at the standings in a graphic form. We've tried to keep you guys updated as far as the standings are concerned, but this time we'll have a little bit. Yeah.
In the lobby anymore, so I'm just going to invite you. It says you've left the session, so I'm going to get you back in. But
That's
carry
fine.
on with what you're doing. Carry on with what you're doing.
That's fine. I'll get back in once the standings are done. But there you can see Evo absolutely dominating with twice the points of Surprise, sitting on 180 compared to 90. It's very, very close for second position, though, with Simon in third with just 88 points, just 2 points adrift. And Leopard actually not that far off, only 14 points adrift in that other Ferrari. And here are the statistics. As you can see, the average points that Evo has been picking up this season is mind-blowing. 22.5 points per race, which is absolutely incredible. He has a 100% reliability record, which is probably why he's up at the top. Surprise, Simon, these guys got very similar speed to Evo, but they just have been lacking that consistency that Evo has had. He has not finished off of the podium so far in Season 16. And it's easy to understand why he is in the position he is in the championship with 90 points between himself and his nearest competitor. So that is how things are looking in the championship. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the game now that we've taken a look at the statistics, or rather, I'm going to get back in the game because I got disconnected from it. But Andy, if you want to give us an update on what's going on in qualifying so far.
We've gone and had about 5 minutes of action. Obviously, just 7 times on the board of the 15 drivers in this session today. Veloci Surprise is quickest of all as it stands with a 1 minute 3.587. He's 4/10 clear of Langman in second. OMG, it's Joe is third. Similar lap time, 1 minute 3.9. There is the 2 McLarens, Team Vodka Shot, MVP 0, P4 and P5. Matt 212 Gaming is 6th. And P1R Brown is 7th. We still await a lap time from Evo, from Leopard, from Simon, Clone Troop, Restive, and EVR Reynolds. Everyone has gone out there on those purple-walled ultra-soft tyres. Remember, folks, the ultra-soft, the super-soft, and the soft tyres are the options available to the drivers this weekend. If it's dry, we expect a one-stop race. And I would think the majority of the drivers would go from the ultra-soft and onto a set of softs. We will wait and see. But have anyone out on the racetrack at the moment? I don't know if you're back yet, Justin. I presume you're still...
Yeah, just got back in.
That's good. Lovely, good timing. But let's see if we can pick someone out on the racetrack. Let's go and have a look on board with Pinecone. Is he out there on a quick lap at the moment? He's just coming round the final corner, actually. And across the line to go... Has he gone anywhere in the standings? Yes, he's gone P2, so 2/10 off Veloci Surprise, who's stealing a march at the top spot at the moment. Now, is this the weekend, Justin, where Veloci Surprise finally stops the rut? It's either a second or a non-score. So, let's see what happens. It was a second or a DNF, but he finished outside the points, so now we can change the stats slightly and say it's either second or a no-score.
Yep, again, it's been a rather up and down season for Surprise, yet to pick up that race win, which we really do expect Surprise to get at some point in Season 16. It's only a matter of time before the Mercedes driver stands on that top step of the podium, and this could be a good opportunity for him. It is clear blue skies in qualifying. Haven't heard any weather reports just yet as far as what the rain is going to, or whether or not there's going to be rain coming in the race. We have had quite a bit of precipitation so far this season, which has made things very exciting. And Pinecone is actually going to go quickest of all. He stayed out, did another lap, and goes quickest with a 103.421. He goes about a 1/10.5 quicker than Surprise, and I imagine he's going to be heading back in after that one. Evo is actually on a hot lap, or on an out lap, excuse me, at the moment, so we could see the championship leader setting a time very soon here. Only 9 times on the board out of the 15 drivers we've seen so far, with just over 10 minutes remaining in qualifying. But Evo warming up those tires, heading into the penultimate corner now, and we'll see if he can displace the Haas of Pinecone from that top spot. Still early days, though, here in qualifying, Andy. We do expect this to shake up quite a bit.
It looks like it. VSR Simon's out there as well in the final sector of the lap as Restive goes third, and Team Vodka Shot has gone P4. Is Simon bailing out and coming into the pits? Yes, he is. Now, I'm looking at these lap times, Justin. I'm not too sure what to make of it. Deliberate, slow lap times from the likes of Simon, from P1R Brown, and perhaps from Evo on this lap. We'll keep an eye out for it. And maybe they want to do something different. Maybe go into super softs or soft to start this race. We'll have to keep an eye out and wait and see. But certainly a representative time from the likes of Pinecone, Surprise, Restive, Vodka Shot, Langman, Joe. They all look as if they put serious times on the board with the intention of starting the race on the ultra soft tire. Let's see what CRG Evos does. The championship leader, he's won every race bar 2 so far this season, and it looks to me, Justin, like Evo's making a call to come into the pits. So is that a sign that maybe Simon, Evo, and a few others out there that without a time on the board might be considering a set of super softs to start this race on?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen that, actually, this season. A lot of drivers really opting, and in fact, Evo won by doing that at the very last race at the French Grand Prix. He didn't go out on the softest compound tire, and he started the race on a brand new set of softs that was able to take him deep into the race, and that he was able to capitalize on that strategy. So we'll see if he's going to go for a similar sort of thing. Surprise, making his way out of the final corner, DRS open, and it is going to be a 103.3. So Surprise displaces Pinecone at the top of the timing sheets by just under a tenth of a second. So still very close, though, you have to say. That's an impressive time set by Pinecone if Surprise is only beating him by that small of an amount. So that is gauntlet throwdown by Pinecone. Surprise responds and does go quicker, but only by the smallest of margins. So it's looking like it's going to be a pretty close qualifying. Looking like OMG, it's Joe, not currently on a hot lap. I think he might be on an in lap at the moment. No, he's got plenty of fuel. He might actually be on an getting ready for a hot lap here. Just over 7.5 minutes remaining in qualifying. And I did just want to apologize to our viewers. We appreciate you guys every week for tuning in, obviously, and we do apologize for being late this week. That was partially my fault and partially technology's fault. So I apologize to you guys for that one. But we are here now and ready for this 9th round of Season 16. A lot of cars into the pits now. It seems the initial runs are pretty much done, so everybody's going to be switching on to their final tire choice, whether that's red or purple or maybe even yellow, and then we'll start to get the get a bit of a picture of what our final grid is going to look like here. So Pinecone crosses the line with the DRS open. Looks like he is going to be... Oh, that was actually 1,000th slower than his previous best as MVP 0.
It was an out. Yeah. I think it was an outlap, Justin. I think it was actually an outlap. I don't know why the timing showed it as the same. I don't know why.
Weird. It said 103.422. That's a strange one.
A strange one, but Pinecone now out on track. And you mentioned there that Justin, it's a Pinecone and Surprise. We're only separated by a tenth. But if you remember back to a few minutes ago, Pinecone did that lap on one or two, over more than one lap anyway, old tyres. So he'd done a couple of laps. So let's see if Pinecone's got something in his pocket here on this latest lap as MVP 0. There's this message coming up on your screen. Parking in an unusual location. Okay, so he's getting a parking ticket as MVP 0. So hopefully he's coming back. This doesn't look like a particularly quick lap, I don't think, for Pinecone, or is it? No, he's backed out of it. Yeah. He's backed out of it. So it's going to be second lap again for Pinecone on these set of tyres, isn't it, Justin? So let's see what he can do. Can he get second to the leap ahead of Surprise? Now, a 10th doesn't seem like a lot, but on this track, margin given it is the shortest racetrack on the calendar. It's the shortest in terms of lap time, in terms of the number of corners, whether that's 8 corners or 10 corners, it is still the shortest either way. So yeah, let's see what Pinecone can do in this latest lap. It's going to take 2 laps on these tyres. So just like the first time round, Pinecone's going to have 2 runs at it after failing with the first attempt.
Making his way into turn 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it, and into 5 or no turn at all, or would that be 4? I don't know. Again, I've got the track map up that has 8 corners. That's what's on Wikipedia, so that's what I'm going from. Also, I really don't like that little kink on the DRS straight being a corner. That is barely a corner at all, but Pinecone navigates his way. Oh, yeah, well off the circuit there, and the Haas driver is going to head straight back into the pits as we pick up Clone Troop, who is currently on a lap at the moment, looking strong in 5th position, you have to say, with a 103.744, one of 7 drivers so far to dip into the 103s, but we do expect that number to increase pretty significantly. MVP 0, again, disqualified after a disconnect earlier, and Clone Troop is actually heading straight back in which means all 14 cars are in the pits. This is the broadcaster's nightmare here, Andy.
Let's go for a TV break. Let's show you guys some hype energy products for the next 5 minutes. No, I'm pretty sure they'll be out back on track pretty soon. And I'm just looking here, actually, Justin, at a few of the choices that are currently fitted on the cars. We'll get Brown in the pits with sort of super softs fitted, no representative time. Evo's in the pits with super softs fitted with no time on the board. So it looks like those guys are going to be going for super softs, and I would think Leopard and Reynolds, who, in fact, Reynolds hasn't got a time on the board and he's out there on ultra softs. So strange that Reynolds has left it this late to put a time on the board. As he begins his outlap, as does Restive, but now they're all starting to change to super soft. Jason, Simon, Brown, Evo, all sitting in the pits, just waiting for the moment. So we're going to have a race, Justin, of split strategies, and that's what we like to see, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I think that definitely played a factor into the excitement level of the French Grand Prix that we saw last weekend, and indeed at several races this season so far. So split strategy is always a good thing, always makes things a bit of a question mark, a bit unpredictable, which we always like to see as spectators and commentators. Restev is going to be the first to set a lap time, it looks like, in his Sauber in the closing stages of this qualifying session in Austria. Less than 3 minutes remaining for the 14 drivers still within a chance to get that pole position again, with MVP 0 getting disconnected and disqualified. Bit unlucky for MVP 0, so he'll be starting right at the back of the grid for today's race, which is obviously not optimal. We'll see if Team Vodka Shot stays nicely out of the way of Restev. He does indeed. And Restev indeed getting a bit of a slipstream there as well, too, as yellow flags out in Sector 1 and Sector 2. That was probably for Vodka Shot moving out of the way, something like that, I would imagine. But Restev looking strong as he begins the descent from the highest point on the circuit down towards Turn 3/Turn 4 and making his way nicely through there. Down towards the double left-handers here. This is where you want the downforce. Most of the circuit, you really don't want downforce. You really want your car to be absolutely as slippery as possible. And then the double left-handers in Sector 2 really is where you want that downforce, but he's looking clean through there. Currently 4th fastest. Just a reminder, in case you guys didn't remember, Restev is now a full-time driver. So the first time he came in, we thought maybe he was just filling in, but he is now a full-time driver. And he does set a 103.6, so he wasn't able to improve. And it seems that he's already backed off on this one. We'll see if he's going to go for another attempt, but that may be his job done. Looks like OMG, it's Joe just coming out of the final corner to start his final lap. Anything interesting you can spot, Andy?
Yeah, well, there you go. That's the 5 drivers that have all opted for the super softs. Jason, Simon, Brown, Evo and Leopard. I'll be interested to see where they slot in. Veloci Surprise has started his flying lap and is up at the top of the hill. Turn 3, 60 metres above the start-finish straight, the highest point of the circuit. And look at that, picking up a toe from his teammate EVR Reynolds. Cheeky stuff there as he runs down into the braking zone of Turn 4, hugging the inside. And down to an area of the track, for me, where it comes alive. This is the trickiest corner on the circuit, without doubt. Blind on entry as you go through Turn 6, then throw it into 7. From this point on, it's really exciting. Through Turn 8 and then into the final couple of corners. Sometimes if you have nailed the lap up to this point, you want to be a bit conservative through the last couple of corners in case you make an error, but not Veloci Surprise. He is determined to get his first win of the season. Here he comes across the line. What's the time? It's still 1 minute 3.338. No improvement from him.
Yep.
What about Evo? Where's he gone? He's gone 7th on his super soft run. I think it's important we try and find Simon, because he is doing the same strategy and he's got similar pace. Where is VSR Simon on the track? Where is Pinecone as well? Pinecone just started a lap, so let's watch Simon complete his lap and see where he compares to CRG Evo, because let's be honest, they'll be on the similar strategy. They've got similar pace, so that is going to be one to watch in the race. Leopard is behind Evo by 2/10. Let's see what Simon can do. Is he close to Evo? He's behind him by a 10th and 3 places back in P10, Evo P7. So let's have a look at Pinecone and see if he can topple Surprise from pole.
Yep, the Haas now looking like he's within a chance anyway. He's been closest to Surprise so far this session, making his way through Turn 6/7/8, depending on the map, and into the penultimate corner for the Haas driver, who's had a bit of an up and down season, but some real flashes of brilliance from the young Haas driver, and we'll see as he crosses the line. Does he improve? He does improve, 103.388, but it is still just enough for the front row of the grid. He will be starting from behind the Mercedes of Surprise, and it looks like Restev is into the pits. Yep, everybody except for Matt 212, but I think he's out of fuel. Yeah, so I don't think this is actually a hot lap for the Williams of Matt 212 Gaming. So I think that is going to do it for the qualifying session from the Red Bull Ring here on Apex Online Racing Season 16 on the Xbox platform. It is Veloce Surprise that takes pole position for Mercedes with the Haas of VSR Pinecone alongside him. Then it's the Force India of OMG It's Joe and the Sauber of Restev starting from the second row. Again, I have to say kudos to Restev because he is doing quite well. It seems he's improving race upon race. Not in huge leaps, mind you, but he's just getting that little bit better every single race, it seems. Maybe just getting a little bit more comfortable with his competition, that sort of thing, as we wait for the final results there. As I said, Restev in 4th. EVR Reynolds in the end, though, actually, on those Ultrasofts goes 5th quickest. Clone Troop in the Toro Rosso alongside him in 6th position. Then it's the first of the Supersoft runners as CRG Evo sets a 103.8 on the Supersoft tires. Team Vodka Shot in 8th position alongside him. Then the other Force India of Langman, he'll start ahead of VSR Simon, who also starts on the Supersofts as well as the Ferrari of Leopard just behind him. Matt 212 Gaming in 12th position on the Ultrasofts will be the lowest of the Ultrasoft runners, but of course he'll have free choice of compound for the start of the race. And then Jason in the bringing up the rear there. So that is your grid for today's Austrian Grand Prix. And again, will it be surprising? I mean, this is surely got to be his best opportunity. But it's worth remembering, Andy, that of course Evo started from 11th last race and won it. So I'm not discounting him from a win here just yet.
By no means. Just like in France, we mentioned it before the start of the race at this very moment, you can overtake in the race in France. You can overtake just as much, if not more, around this circuit as well. So Evo, for me, believe it or not, is still the strong favourite to win this race. I mean, Simon as well. Just depends how they negotiate the traffic. But Surprise obviously feels he's quite confident that that strategy will work for him. So let's see how it goes. I mean, he has got a good 6 places ahead of Evo on the grid. So let's see how it goes for him. I mean, great effort from Pinecone, P2 on the grid, half a tenth away from Veloce Surprise. Really strong effort. And as you said as well about Rested, P4. Of course, a couple of races in now as a full-time driver and doing a fine job to qualify in 4th on the grid. So let's see what Evo does. Let's see how much progress he can make in the opening exchanges of the Grand Prix. Simon as well. Leopard went for that strategy too. And then Jason and P1R Brown. MVP 0, thankfully, has made it back in. So he will bring up the rear in P15. And just have a look at that. Everyone outside the top 10, Simon and Evo, has gone for the Supersoft tire. So they obviously feel that that is the way to go, Justin.
Yeah, so Evo and Simon will be the only 2 on worn Supersoft tires. And I have to say, it is looking rather dry at the moment. It is clear blue skies that the hills are alive to the sound of. So I'm not expecting rain. I don't know if we've had any information provided in chat as far as what the chances are of seeing some precipitation in this race. But it is going to be lots of Supersoft runners, everybody outside the top 10 on those Supersoft tires. And also, one thing that I pointed out, didn't point out because the screen changed a little bit too quickly, P1R Brown down in 14th position, which you have to say for a race winner is very surprising. Keep in mind, the Williams driver won the Monaco Grand Prix. And also what's caught me off a little bit off guard here is that short track that you talked about, Andy, because the formation lap's almost done already.
Yeah, incredible. Not much time for filling in there. So incredible how short the lap is here. And Veloce Surprise will lead them round onto the grid. There are a few big questions to be answered in this race today. Is this today's Surprise finally ends a sequence of either a second or a no score? Can VSR Pinecone perform well enough to threaten for the victory today? And what about Evo? What about Simon? What about those super soft runners that are usually up at the sharp end of the grid? Can they make it work, just as Evo did in sensational circumstances last weekend in France? Well, all the ingredients are set up for a cracking race, Justin. We're moments away from round 9 of the championship here in Spielberg.
Yep, there we go. We're preparing for the lights now. They're coming on. Engines are revving. Tension is building for round 9 of Season 16, Apex Online Racing, and they're away. I don't see much wheel spin, a little bit of wheel spin from Reynolds there, actually in 5th position. It looks like he's already coming under attack from Evo up the inside, as well as the Toro Rosso and the Force India are side by side through turn 1 as well on the run down towards turn 2. And it looks like Pinecone has held on to his spot. Evo, like I said, getting ahead of Reynolds, but Reynolds actually fighting back at him. He'll have to go the long way around the outside. They're 3 wide, Toro Rosso, Sauber, and Force India, and it looks like OMG It's Joe is going to get pushed off the track, and he might lose out a little bit in that one. Matt 212 and MVP 0 switching positions as well, and Evo is back now behind the Mercedes. Oh, and he's got Langman actually thinking about going up the inside there. He thought better of it in the end, a bit more changing of position at the back there, and interestingly, this is very interesting here. Andy, Leopard is now ahead of Simon.
Yep, Simon will not be happy. He refers to Leopard as Evo's dog and the 2 Ferrari teammates. So Simon will be furious to see Leopard in front of him, of course. You remember back to that race in Baku, where Simon felt his race was extremely jeopardised by Leopard, and who can blame him on that occasion. But yep, we're back, we're underway, we're running, and not a good start, as you mentioned there, for VSR Simon. Dropping behind Leopard, that could be key for their race, could be key to whether he can fight Evo this afternoon. I want to say, what a start it was from Reston. He was so brave on the brakes up into turn 1 and made that move, made that P3 his own in style. Then he was under serious attack coming up into turn 3 with Clone Troop and Joe. Joe was fighting hard but battled and got lost to place, and he's battling there with Clone Troop in the battle for 4th and 5th now, trying to win it back from Clone Troop. Reynolds right in there as well. Interestingly, Pinecone not dropping off the back of Surprise either, Justin, in these early exchanges. So that's quite a positive thing to see in the early stages of this Grand Prix. Can Pinecone take it to Surprise over the race distance? Surprise has told me, like it is difficult on other tracks, that breaking the DRS here when there's 3 DRS zones is very, very difficult. So can Pinecone stay there? Can he keep this up and fight the distance? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, you've only got about 5 corners to try and break that DRS. So, yeah, as you said, extremely difficult around the Red Bull Ring for them to try and break that. I'm on board with Evo at the moment as we get into lap 3. DRS is going to be activated now, and we'll see if Evo can do anything with the Mercedes of EVR Reynolds just ahead of him, who is down a position. OMG It's Joe down a couple of positions as well, too, after starting from 3rd on the grid. It's Clone Troop that's made up the most positions in this race so far, you have to say. From 6th all the way up to 4th. It's looking really good for Clone Troop, actually. And on to the top point of the hill, DRS active now for the Ferrari of Evo, but he's actually lost out there. It looks like he lost a bit of time to Reynolds, so possibly those Super Softs not quite coming into their own just yet. Oh, and Leopard trying it around the outside on Team Vodka Shot. Very close between the two of them, but no, Leopard not able to make that move happen. And in fact, that's put Simon right onto the back of him once again, so he is going to have to keep his eyes on his mirrors, because VSR Simon is going to be really, really looking to try and gain as many positions here as he can, because he's just going to be thinking about that gap between himself and Evo right now. There's 4 cars in between the two of them. Excuse me, 3 cars, but 4 positions between the two of them. Simon tucked right underneath the rear wing of Leopard, and Langman, it seems, actually losing a bit of ground to Evo up ahead, so he is now at the head of this train. 3 cars with DRS right behind him, but none of them able to go alongside the Force India as they make their way into turn 1. Let's see if on the run down towards turn 2, if Team Vodka Shot can make anything happen here. I have to imagine that Leopard is going to start getting a little angsty too. Langman defends the inside line into turn 2. Vodka Shot around the outside. Looks like he's just about got him, actually. Will either of them get the DRS? It doesn't look like it. I'm not seeing DRS open for either the McLaren or the Force India. Leopard does open up the DRS. Simon is sitting in the slipstream of that Ferrari, and Vodka Shot is up into 8th position. And, ooh, but not quite the best corner for him there. And MVP 0 and Matt 212 are still battling. I need to actually have a look at this, Andy, because they've been trading positions all race.
Action everywhere, and those DRS zones proving a pain if you're trying to pull away. Not so if it's the other way around. And Pinecone was actually only a 10th off the back of Surprise on that lap. But look at this battle you're talking about, Justin. 0, Matt, and P1 Brown at the back. It's just so many cars fighting for one another. Langman, though, is really starting to hold up Leopard and Simon now. And is Leopard thinking about a move? And maybe Pinecone's made a mistake somewhere. He's now a second behind Surprise, and that could be key for this race for Pinecone. That DRS is broken, he's in real trouble. But look at Leopard, he's desperate to get past Langman as they go running up the hill, through the kink of turn 2 and into the braking zone of turn 3. Here goes Leopard. Don't get hung out on the outside, Leopard, because Simon will pounce if you do, and that's dangerous. And there you go. Simon is alongside. That's what I was talking about. Don't get hung out to dry there, because your rival's right behind you. And now Simon pulls alongside and is surely going to take the place away from Leopard. And when the time they hit the brakes, he is through and up into P10. Silly decision from Leopard to go to the outside, and now he's lost out. But Justin Restev's made a move on Pinecone as Simon now attacks and goes side by side and spins. Simon's round into a big spin, and then more contact as the cars come through the shot. And Simon just tried an opportunistic move up the inside there on Langman, and he goes in for a spin. And Matt 212 Gaming was collected in that as well, and that is game over for Simon, Justin.
Yep, and I have a feeling I know how Simon is going to react to that one. And unfortunately for Matt 212, the bad luck continues. The poor guy has just not had the season that he deserves, if you ask me. But let's focus on this battle for second position, because after Restev made the overtake, oh, he's very deep into turn 2. Pinecone is going to retake that second place position, right? Yep. Oh, but actually Restev surprisingly didn't lose too much time as a result of that. He's still right behind the Haas of Pinecone. Oh, and it's going to be 3 wide actually into the corner. I wasn't even expecting Clone Troop to try it around the outside there, but he gave it a go, and actually that's going to lose him the position to OMG It's Joe, or will it? He's got the inside line. Oh, he really squeezed Joe out there. And here comes Evo. He takes the pair of them. Unbelievable an opportunistic overtake from CRG Evo to take the pair of them, taking advantage of that battle, moving himself already up into 4th position. He is now the man with the most positions gained in this race so far, after Clone Troop lost out to that one. But this battle is not over just yet. OMG It's Joe now going to try it up the inside into turn 1 on Clone Troop. He's later on the brakes actually, and easily breezes past the Toro Rosso. EVR Reynolds, wow, I mean, he was practically touching the back of that Toro Rosso as we switched on board with him. And Clone Troop is going to try to defend the inside line into turn 2 here. He's going to have to go around the outside, but OMG It's Joe kind of boxing him in. Oh, Clone Troop with a very late dive bomb maneuver there on OMG It's Joe, and that might actually give the position to EVR Reynolds here. He's got the DRS, and so does Joe, though, actually, the Force India of OMG It's Joe. He's got the DRS, he's got that inside line, he's made contact with EVR Reynolds. Clone Troop up the inside on that corner. Now he's side by side with the Force India. He's going to try and go around the outside through the double left-handers. That didn't work out so well for the other car last lap, but actually it's working out pretty well for him. A bit more bumping between the two of them, and it seems that Clone Troop might just about edge ahead, but he gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, Andy.
Oh, this is incredible. Still, they're battling. Joe around the outside through turn 9 and into the final corner. Not very often you see that. Clone Troop, I tell you what, he's getting his elbows out today. For the last lap and a half, it's been crazy from Clone Troop. And now Joe back up the inside as they go into turn 1. Is he finally through? No! Still Clone Troop tries to defend. Side by side they go. We're going to be 3 wide here. Whoa! Oh! Into the wall, big time goes Joe, and he's out of the race pretty much. As Vodka Shot now steams up the inside of Clone Troop on the brakes. Clone Troop still not giving up, and he clings on for now. But Joe is out of this race. Some contact there, and yeah, that's a real shame for him. But Vodka Shot, he's not caring about what's happened to Joe. He's going steaming down the inside. Not 1 but 2, and this is a messy race. This one, synchronized, spinning down at turn 4. Round goes Vodka Shot. Round goes the Mercedes of Reynolds. And goodness me, Justin, it's been feisty, it's been frenetic, but I think they need to take a chill pill, some of them out there.
This is breathless stuff. This is incredibly difficult to commentate on. These guys are not giving us any sort of breathing space whatsoever. As you said, it is fast and frantic. You have to say, though, the one man that probably is able to just relax a little bit is Surprise. In all of that chaos, Evo has now moved up into 3rd position. Those Super Softs are definitely going to be starting to get faster and faster compared to the Ultra Softs on Velace Surprise, who started this race on pole position. And there it is. Evo actually making his way past Pinecone up the inside into turn 2/3, and he gets the job done. Pinecone with the DRS. Oh, and Clone Troop and Leopard still battling with MVP 0 right behind them as well, too. DRS open now for the McLaren. It doesn't look like the Toro Rosso or the Ferrari picking up DRS there. Leopard up into 5th position. Cloak Troop now down into 6th, where he actually started this race. Defends from MVP 0, but with that inside line, the McLaren is going to breeze up and past the Toro Rosso up into 6th position, and Clone Troop now down into 7th, with Jason 97 F1 just behind him. He's made up as many positions as P1R Brown and Evo. At one point, P1R Brown was in dead last in this race. He now finds himself in a points-paying position of 9th place. Langman in the Force India picks up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately, with left hand. Oh, a big mistake for Clone Troop through the final corner. That is going to allow Jason 97 F1 to breeze right past, as well as the Williams of P1R Brown. And now Restev in 4th position also has a 3-second time penalty for multiple corner cut warnings. And I think the man to watch at the moment here, Andy, is probably MVP 0, because he's going side by side with Leopard.
Yeah, that's a battle for 2nd place in the super soft running drivers, you could say. Evo's way up the road from them. Leopard holds on for now, but Zero is on a charge here, isn't he? Look at Jason now and Brown. It's like the 4 super soft runners are now really starting to motor up through the field. They're 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th now, all together, with Evo further up the road showing them how it's done. But goodness me, Clone Troop has been all over the road today. On the outside of corners, up the inside, ducking and diving left and right. Some people might be having a go at him for some fairy tale attempts to make a move up the inside in places, but Clone Troop drops to 9th now, and his erratic style in this race this afternoon has cost him dear. He's down to P9 now, as Pinecone has finally come into the pit. So we wait still for Restev, we wait for Surprise. Evo's still cutting that gap down to under 3 seconds on Surprise. Things looking good for CRG Evo at the moment, but let's stick with this brilliant battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th between the 4 super soft runners. And who is going to come out on top here? It's still Leopard at the moment, but Zero is on a charge at the moment and really looking like a menace on the back of that Ferrari, isn't he?
Yeah, MVP 0, a podium finisher in China. In fact, he finished 2nd in China, if I remember correctly, behind CRG Evo. So it's been a kind of up and down season for him. But you know, that highlight is definitely getting on the podium. I mean, to get on the podium of Xbox One F1 is quite difficult. I mean, you really got to have some skills. And I'm sure he would love to prove that it was not a fluke. He would love to get up there a 2nd time and prove that he's got what it takes to be on that podium consistently. I've been keeping my eye on that gap between Surprise and Evo at the front, and you have to say it is definitely coming down now. I'm not sure exactly when the pit stop window is going to be opening up for the super soft runners, but clearly it's already firmly open for the ultra soft runners, as MVP 0 just having a look up the inside, or in the inside lane we'll call it, on Leopard, and just showing him he's there, maybe just avoiding the dirty air. He picks up the DRS, picks up the slipstream. Leopard defends the inside line on the run down towards turn 2. Can MVP 0 do it around the outside? His teammate Team Vodka Shot picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Leopard is through that corner and holds on to that 4th place position. DRS open now, though, for the McLaren once again. He's going to get into that slipstream, and again, Leopard looks like he's going to defend the inside line into this right-hander, and it looks like MVP 0 a bit later on the brakes, but gets the squeeze at the exit of the corner, not able to make anything happen there. The Haas of Jason 97 F1 right behind the pair of them. If anything happens between Leopard and MVP 0, Jason is going to be there to pick up the pieces, no doubt about it. Again, Jason, a very kind of mature, respectful driver. He's going to sit back and wait for something to happen rather than go on the offensive here, as he loses a bit of time through Sector 2 into the penultimate corner now for the Haas. MVP 0 taking that corner, it seems a little bit better than the Ferrari of LCR Leopard. Onto the start-finish straight now as we start lap 13. We're not even at halfway distance. It feels like we've run several laps, and Surprise is into the pits as well as Restev. So we seem to have seen our first pit stop from the top 2 guys. And I actually really would like to see whether Surprise is going to come out into some sort of traffic. And no, he's got tons of clean air up ahead, Andy.
It does, but this is just incredible. Zero versus Leopard. They're knocking lumps out of one another on the circuit. This has been a brilliant battle, as Zero is driving a brilliant race. He's going to go for the cutback, the switchback from Zero up the inside into turn 4, and he's made it work. Leopard drops down to P3. A lovely little surprise from Zero there. He stayed on the left-hand side, then switched back to the right to gain the inside line into turn 4 and passes Leopard, and is now up into P2. Zero has come from right down the back of the field to now be P2 in this race. Yes, he has to stop, but he is second amongst the runners on those super soft tyres, and Leopard's coming in already, Justin.
Yeah, it seems like an early stop for the Ferrari driver. Oh, and he's also, I think, I don't know if that was carbon fiber that I saw being shed from his Ferrari, but I saw some debris being deposited, and he's picked up a stop-go penalty as well for speeding into the pits, so that's not great for Leopard there.
I think it was Paul Stein. I think he hit the pit speed board.
Oh, good.
And he goes and decides to hit it. Well, he didn't listen to it, he didn't respect the board, and he didn't respect the speed either. So he gets a 5-second penalty. No, we should give him 5 for knocking the board down. I'm being harsh. There you go. He rejoins the track in P7 with Clone Troop, who's been in the wars from start to finish, or start to this point of this race, in P8. So it's Evo from 0, from Jason. They're yet to stop. Surprise is now 4th. I'm going to quickly change it to gap to the leader so I can have a look. Surprise 15.8. Evo, and Evo's in the pits, Justin. So there's not much between the super soft and the ultra soft in terms of life, is there?
It really seems that way. By the time Evo had actually started closing in on Surprise, Surprise was pretty much into the pits straight after that. I'm on board with Surprise now. Perhaps I should actually go on board with Pinecone, because I think Evo's more likely to come out around him than he is to come out around Surprise. I'm not sure exactly how much time is lost for a pit stop. Jason 97 F1 into the pits for a set of tires as well, too. And there is Evo. Yep, I'm on board with Evo. He's come out just behind the Haas of VSR Pinecone, who started this race from 2nd position on the ultra soft tires. And he didn't pick up the DRS, of course, because he just came out of the pits on this new set of tires. And actually, let's go take a quick look. The only man still out there on his first set of tires is MVP Zero, who's now on his 14th lap, or 15th lap, excuse me, on this set of super soft tires. So I would expect him to be coming in pretty soon. Evo, though, on the freshest tires out of everybody in the top 7. The only other driver with similar tire life is Jason 97 F1, who finds himself just about within DRS range of Clone Troop. And actually, I am going to switch over to Clone Troop because he is tucked right underneath the rear wing of that Ferrari LCR Leopard as they make their way through the double left-handers in Sector 2. And you have to say the... oh, no! And Surprise with a 3-second time penalty. Not what you want to see. It is currently less than 3 seconds as MVP Zero finally pits. He is the final car to come into the pits for his 1 compulsory pit stop, which means everybody has been into the pits at least once now. And it is just about 2.1 seconds between Surprise and Evo. So not only does he need to build a bigger 1 second gap down to Evo, he needs to do it with 2 lap older tires, Andy.
Yeah, not good for Surprise. It could be a case where he continues that run of a 2nd place if it's going to go like this. Mind you, Pinecone is still well within that zone.
Zero just lost 2 positions.
He's been forced off the road or something like that, or been in an incident with Leopard.
He went wide into turn 2, he didn't defend the inside line. Yeah, Leopard snuck through and Clone Troop just kind of followed him.
Okay, well, not good for Zero because he had been on the front foot up until his pit stop. Fresh tyres maybe, struggling to get them up to temperature, so back behind Clone Troop and Leopard he goes, but with superior tyres you'd expect them to come back at those guys. But Evo, he's a strong favourite to win this race with 20 laps or so to go. He really is.
Yeah, you have to say Evo is looking very likely to pick up the win here. The one kind of thorn that could stop him, I think, is actually Pinecone.
Exactly, I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say, I think Pinecone, I don't think Evo's going to be too worried yet, but think about making a move on VSR Pinecone and then keep Veloci Surprise in his sights. I mean, he's got a long way to go, but I'm pretty sure Evo will pretty soon be wanting to get a hurry up and start attacking that Haas soon, because I would think that Pinecone would start to drop back a little bit for Veloci Surprise, and the sooner CRG Evo makes this move, the easier it will be for him to get through on Veloci Surprise. So that will be one to watch. Can Pinecone keep that Ferrari at bay? There's 4 laps tyres between them, which isn't huge, Justin. It isn't really. So let's see how it goes.
Yep, making their way into the penultimate corner now, and you have to say Evo looking quite a bit more comfortable, taking a lot of inside curve there. Pinecone navigates the final corner. DRS open now for the Ferrari. Will the Haas defend the inside line? It does look like Pinecone's kind of positioning to move up the side. thinks better of it because it appeared that Evo wasn't actually going to be able to go alongside Clone Troop in the Toro Rosso. Picks up a 3-second time penalty. I actually don't remember if that's his first one, but here we go. Evo with the slipstream, with the DRS, with the inside line into turn 2, is going to breeze past the Haas of Pinecone, and now it is all down to the will of Surprise, yet to pick up that win so far in Season 16 of AOR F1 on the Xbox platform. He needs to build that gap, or he needs Evo to pick up a penalty, which we have seen on a couple of instances so far in Season 16. Evo has not been without fault so far this season, so I'm not going to discount it as a possibility. I'm merely going to say it's extremely unlikely. I'd say the chances of Evo picking up a 3-second time penalty are definitely slim, and you have to say... Yeah, what's that?
Well, he's got 2 warnings. I've just checked. He does have 2 warnings. He got them both on the same lap.
Interesting.
Oh. He's not far away from a penalty, so he can't go pushing and run the risk of getting another one. But he should certainly be able to close on Surprise. We know there's not much between the two. And the fact that Evo's got fresher tyres. So, well, it's going to be an interesting remaining 15 or so laps to see how it pans out. Can Evo close in on Surprise? Can he avoid getting a penalty and pick up yet another win this season? Evo has got double the points of second place man in the standings. Shows you how impressive he's been this season, how strong he has been. So let's see if he can go on and win again, as Pinecone and Zero appear to be doing battle. Pinecone, Clone Troop and Zero appear to be doing battle for P6 and P7, and Zero has got the jump in the McLaren on Clone Troop. Clone Troop has been in the thick of the action all race long, comes back up the inside into turn 4. Zero just about leaves him enough room, and they now go running down towards turns 5 and 6, still battling side by side. Look at Clone Troop trying around the outside. Whoa, he loses the rear end and finally has to concede the place. Zero back up into P6, having lost a couple of places when he came out the pits. Now, what can he do? Can he get back after Leopard and continue that race-long battle between the two, Justin? Nice move there.
Yeah, multiple battles going on in this race, as has been the case for the entire 19 and a bit laps that we've seen so far, as we start lap 20 now on board with the Haas of Jason 97 F1. DRS open, but of course open on the Toro Rosso ahead of him as well, picking up the slipstream as well off of that McLaren. So Jason finding it a bit difficult to make his way past. Let's see if we can switch over to P1R Brown. He might have a good shot at overtaking the Mercedes of EVR Reynolds here for what is 9th position Team Vodka Shot. I think picking up a 2nd or 3rd penalty there. Not been a great race so far for the McLaren, who currently finds himself just outside the points-paying positions at about 9 seconds adrift indeed of P1R Brown in that final points-paying position. And it does not look like that he is going to be able to make his way past that Mercedes on this occasion as they make their way into Sector 2. This is the part of the circuit where it's nigh on impossible to actually make an overtake. We have seen several battles, though, through Sector 2, through these kind of long left-handed corners, and it's been really incredible to watch, really fantastic stuff. But it's just so difficult to try and make the overtake there. Equally very difficult to try and make the overtake through the final couple of corners as well. And one thing that we haven't really mentioned yet, Andy, Pinecoat's not dropping off the back of Evo, is he?
No, he's not, actually. Surprisingly, Evo's dropped 3/10 off the back of Surprise, so maybe Evo's made a mistake on that last lap or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, to be fair to Pinecone, 4 laps older tyres, falling off the back of the flying Evo in the championship, the man that's running away with it, as we've mentioned. So hats off to Pinecone. This has probably been one of his strongest performances, his most polished performances in the top tier so far. Would you agree, Justin?
Yeah, I gotta say, really impressive stuff from Pinecone. Again, he's kind of had a bit of an up and down season. It's not been too bad. It's not like he's been either first or last sort of deal. But it's been an impressive season from Pinecone. He's definitely been kind of one of the standout guys. That qualifying in Azerbaijan certainly is one to mention. So Pinecone, definitely one of those guys to watch. Again, one of the younger drivers on the grid as well, too. Oh, and as I say that, he picks up a 3-second time penalty. He can still harass Evo. Just because he's got a 3-second time penalty doesn't mean he's no longer allowed to race for position. So it's not over just yet for Pinecone as far as battles are concerned, but that may be his opportunity at picking up a 2nd place done, unless Evo gets that 3rd warning. Oh, Jason 97 F1 having to get on the brakes rather early, following Clone Troop, the Toro Rosso just positioning his car very strategically, kind of right in the middle of the track, and Jason just found himself not knowing where to go. Clone Troop now defending the inside line as they descend down the hill, and if Jason can hang it around the outside here, he will get the inside line on Clone Troop for the next two left-handers, but he can't quite keep up. Will he try it up the inside? Oh, he sends it. Clone Troop gives him the room. Good respect from the Toro Rosso driver to leave space at the inside of that left-hander, but no, Jason thinks better of it. Again, very cautious sort of driver, not really all that surprised to see him back out of that one. But he definitely seems like the faster of the two cars. No surprise, again, much healthier tires compared to the Toro Rosso. And Clone Troop does have a penalty as well. So I imagine Jason's going to be a bit more keen to try and get by here, because as he's getting held up by a car that he's essentially already overtaken. Oh, and there's a 3-second time penalty for the other McLaren of MVP 0, which is not what you want to see, because he's actually been having a really good race today, Andy.
Zero has been really impressive, particularly in that first stint where he was cutting his way through the field from the very back, remember? And to become the second driver on that strategy from Supersoft. So, yeah, it was a fine start to the race from Zero. It's kind of plateaued a little bit. Oh, look at this from Jason! Steam training up the inside of Clone Troop. Oh, there's slight contact between them. Without any contact or any races being ruined. Only compromised, not ruined. And Clone Troop stays P7, Jason P8. Brave attempt there from Jason down the inside into turn 4. He was quite a long way back. And unfortunately for him, he was unable to get that move done. And that's going to leave with a little bit interested. He's gained a second on them. Well, they were battling in that middle sector and rubbing wheels and trading paint. So Fiona Brown might fancy getting involved in that battle pretty soon as well. So Clone Troop, Jason, Fiona Brown, looks like a cracking little squabble developing. But yeah, just to carry on with what was the same as Zero. A great first stint, plateaued in the second stint when he made that error, ran wide and lost 2 places. But he's coming back through, but that time penalty is going to haunt him, it has to be said, as we now see Jason and Clone Troop go for round 2 up at turn 3. Look at that, Jason right round the outside of Clone Troop. That is a beautiful move from Jason. Up into P7, Clone Troop's having none of it. He's going to come steaming down the outside now into turn 4. Can he do to Jason what he's just had done to him? Yes, he can. Right round the outside into turn 4, now through turn 5, and he will have the inside for turn 6, and Clone Troop battles back and takes 7th place back again. Great respect. Great racing between the pair, Justin. I'm really enjoying this battle. And P1 Brown's got the front row seat in P9, now only 8 tenths behind them.
Yeah, we've had a few incidents in this race, but on the whole, I have to say I'm really impressed with some of the respectful side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel racing that we've seen here at the Red Bull Ring. It's been really a pleasure to behold. Worth pointing out, I think, once again, as we're now on the 25th lap out of 36 total, so we're just past the 2/3 distance point, and Pinecone is still within DRS range of Evo. Again, he does have a 3-second time penalty, and oh, this is getting rather kind of messy between Jason and Clone Troop, because they were coming up and lapping the Red Bull of VSR Simon, which made things rather confusing there. But here we go with round, I don't know, 14 maybe on between these two guys, not side by side through that right-hander. So surely you have to say advantage Jason on this occasion as they make their way into the double left-handers, and it is the Haas that comes out on top in that battle finally. And with those fresher tires, I have to assume he should be able to pull away rather easily through turns 7 and 8, or 9 and 10, depending on which map you're looking at. Through these final couple of corners, he's going to be picking up that dirty air, and he's going to be losing that time to the Haas ahead of him. He will get the benefit of the DRS on this start-finish straight and on the rundown towards turn 2 as well. However, he does have P1R Brown just behind him. All of that battling, bringing the Williams back into contention for this 7th place position. I don't think P1R Brown has picked up any penalties yet either. I don't remember seeing his name pop up. So I think he could be a threat later on. Clone Troop again attacking Jason. Yeah, what's that, Andy?
He's got one, does P1R Brown.
Oh, okay.
So he's not looking too good there either. But look at Reynolds now in the background. He's also not far away from this group of cars, this trio. About to make it a quartet, I think, as he can get himself involved. But Clone Troop, for a moment there, I thought he was going to have to start thinking about P1R Brown behind. But no, he's still stuck to the back of Jason's car, and despite having 4 lap older tyres, than the Haas driver, still sticking in there and fighting on as Brown's not been able to cling on to the back of Clone Troop. I would have expected him to start launching an attack pretty soon, but nope, it's faded slightly for the Williams driver. Remember, folks, so just give you a quick heads up, you will be able to vote of the day at the end of this Grand Prix. The vote will open just before the end of this Grand Prix, so remember that one. The driver of the day vote will be out there as well, so I'm sure there's a few contenders out there. Evo looking good to win this race, remember, from starting all the way down in P7. Driver of the day to go with his race victory. What about the fine efforts of Pinecone today? A strong performance, one of his best of the season so far. MVP 0 deserves an honourable mention as well. What do you think, Justin? Anyone else?
I'd say Jason and Clone Troop, just for the battling that those two guys were displaying for us, because I mean that was quite the show to watch. So certainly the Haas, the Toro Rosso, good candidates I would say as well too. But I imagine for a lot of people it's a lot like real F1, where you just vote for your favorite driver rather than who you necessarily think was the driver of the day. It was CRG Evo who picked up driver of the day last time in France after starting from outside the top 10 and storming his way through the field and picking up that win, standing on the top step of the podium. But yeah, I think Clone Troop, Jason, Evo, Pinecone, all of these guys are definitely good candidates, and certainly surprise if he can pull out a 1.3 second bigger gap on Evo, could potentially be a candidate for not just driver of the day, but also the race victory as well too. It's not over just yet. I am not discounting anything. There's 8 laps still remaining in this Austrian Grand Prix after they cross the finish line here on lap number 28. The Toro Rosso of Clone Troop still sort of sticking to the back of Jason. You have to say that gap has definitely increased since the last time we saw them barreling into turn 3/4, and it's growing ever so slightly. P1R Brown behind him, behind Clone Troop with a 3-second time penalty, but Clone Troop's got a penalty or two as well. So P1R Brown certainly is going to be fancying his chances there. EVR Reynolds not that far adrift as well either, and the aforementioned quartet is making their way through the penultimate corner into the final corner now. I don't think we're going to see a change of position for 7th as Team Vodka Shot picks up what I believe is a 3rd penalty, so really just not going well for Team Vodka Shot. Matt 2-2 as well. VSR Simon is disconnected. You can ignore the fact that his name is not highlighted. We did lose in this race. Oh, Leopard. Yeah.
On the inside of Restev, look at that. Brilliant racing there. Leopard on a charge at the moment. Restev had just picked up a time penalty. Leopard applying some pressure, and now he's on the inside. Here comes Leopard down the inside into turn 4. Restev on the outside, tries to hang it round the outside and does brilliantly to hold on to that one. Now Leopard needs to be wise to MVP 0, because here he comes into turn 6. Not usually an overtaking place. Try telling 0 that though. He's down the inside and he completes the move on the entry to turn 7. 1 minute Leopard thinks he's got the move on Restev. Next minute he's relegated down a place into P6. Great action between that trio there. And 0 again, once again, Justin, as he was earlier in the race, is on the march.
Incredible stuff from MVP 0, maybe just getting spurred on a little bit by his better performance earlier in the race, and then that 3-second time penalty came up, and we thought, oh, maybe he's just going to get discouraged, but here he goes, actually, with the DRS now. Clone Troop picking another 3-second time penalty, as well as Reynolds in the Mercedes as well. MVP 0 with that DRS doesn't go on the attack, actually, and saving a bit of battery as he makes his way out of turn 2 over the crest of the highest point of the circuit. DRS open now for MVP 0 onto the back of Restev, but I don't think he's going to be side-by-side into the braking zone. He thinks about it. He's up the inside. He's got the better grip, it seems, compared to the Sauber. He's got those fresher tires. He's going to try around the outside of these double left-handers, and it's actually working out fairly well, you have to say. The Sauber gives him the room through the first left-hander, through the second left-hander as well, around the outside for MVP 0 at turn 5/6/7, depending on what map you're looking at, and that is a lovely move. That should definitely result in at least 1 vote for driver of the day to MVP 0, if you ask me. But Restev now, I think, is going to be coming under attack from the Ferrari behind him here, Andy.
Was absolutely awesome from 0. He's put on an overtaking show today. I think that was absolutely brilliant. I want to go to his house and shake his hand after that one. That was brilliant. But look, Restev's coming back again for more. Down the outside into turn 3. Can he hold on? Can he go around the outside and cling on again? For some reason, Restev keeps fighting and keeps doing quite well around the outside. He'll try it again into turn 4, I'm sure, if he gets the chance. He won't. And Zero looks like he's free in P4 to get on with his race. Awesome driving between these guys, particularly Zero, who's driven so well, made some fantastic moves, and given us such excitement on the racetrack. And he's up into P4. Restev down to P5, and he's going to have to worry about Leopard now. So, yeah, cracking battle going on there. Cracking battle for 7th, 8th and 9th as well. Don't go anywhere, folks. A few places to be settled in this Grand Prix yet. And, of course, Evo, 1 penalty, and it's back in Surprise's court.
And we are really starting to run out of laps now. Just about 5 laps remaining for these guys as they cross the line to finish lap 31 and start lap 32. Restev right behind MVP Zero. Oh, and that's a 3-second time penalty for MVP Zero, which, is that his second one, Andy?
I thought, I'm not sure. They're all piling up now. I'll have a look in a moment. Justin, Restev coming again.
Oh,
look
Leopard.
at Leopard. How late do you want to be in the break? Somehow, there's no room for him to find a way through. He just overcooked it a little bit. I think that was the Rosberg line he was taking there. And drops down to P6. Now he goes late again on the brakes. Trying to go up the inside of Restev. He can't quite do it. Surprise now, almost getting up to around 2.5 seconds on Evo. Has he got anything left in his locker to try and reel that gap up to 3 seconds? We'll have to wait and see if he can at least put some pressure on it. He might force Evo into a mistake. We'll wait and see. But Leopard versus Restev versus Evo is providing great entertainment. Leopard, we know he's aggressive. We know he has this love of going for moves. He's a daring driver. He races on the edge, doesn't he, Justin? And I'm pretty sure in the remaining laps, he will go for a gap if he sees the opportunity. I'll have a look and count up those penalties for Zero if you take over the action.
Yeah, Leopard might not just go for a gap. He might actually try to create a gap. Let's actually switch quickly over to P1R Brown because there's just a few tenths between himself and Clone Troop as he activates the DRS on the rundown towards turn 2. This could be the best opportunity that Williams has had in quite some time to try and make the overtake on the Toro Rosso. It's not quite worked out for him into turn 2/3, and he's got a decent exit. DRS open once again. The DRS has been firmly broken between Jason and Clone Troop. Oh, and there it is, up the inside. It seems that Clone Troop isn't even really going to fight that. P1R Brown moves up into 8th position, himself and Clone Troop, both with multiple penalties, if I remember correctly. So that is probably for position. We're going to have to see as the checker flag comes out in just a few laps' time to see exactly how everything is going to settle out. Let's switch back on board with the battle for what is essentially now 5th position because MVP Zero has actually broken the DRS between himself and Restev. So Restev here is definitely a sitting duck for Leopard, and he may not need to make that gap in the end as he picks up the DRS, picks up the slipstream on the rundown towards turn 1. He's not using any of his batteries, so he's going to hold off, save that battery, and use maximum deploy. There he is. He's on battery level 3, so actually not quite maximum. There's 4. DRS open. Will Restev defend the inside line? No, he will not. Inside line for the Ferrari as they make their way into turn 2. Let's switch to an off-board camera, and there it is. Leopard breezes past. The Sauber comes back at him at the exit of the corner and will not get the DRS there. So it looks like Leopard is going to hold on to that P5 for the moment. Interestingly, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jason is actually closing in on this battle for 5th position. Wow, MVP Zero really pulling out that gap now, though. Over 2.2 seconds between Zero and Leopard. So the McLaren really starting to pull away and might even pull enough of an advantage as Surprise is now onto the penultimate lap of this race. Leopard coming to the end of lap 34 as it stands right now. And with Restev in hot pursuit as well, and Jason closing. 1.3 down to the Haas now in 7th position.
Hey, what, Justin? He's not going to be Jason's going to have a great chance if he doesn't pick up a penalty in the remaining laps to finish about P4 here, because Zero's got 6 seconds worth. Leopard's got a stop go. I'm not sure if he actually served it though, so that could be another 5 seconds added to his time. And Restev's got 6 seconds of penalties. Jason's got none. So Jason here could be looking at a stunning P4 in this race. He might not even need to overtake any of these guys to get that P4, Justin. So things looking really good for Jason, coming together right at the end of this race, and perhaps a strong shout for Jason driver of the day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Jason really doing well. He had those fantastic battles with Clone Troop, yet to pick up a penalty. One of the few drivers that has not picked up a penalty so far in this race. Let's go on board with one of the other ones as Clone Troop gets another 3-second time penalty as the white flag is out. Final lap now for the Ferrari of CRG Evo. It is 2.3 seconds. I did see that gap grow. It looked like it was about 2.5, 2.6 seconds. So Surprise clearly trying his absolute hardest to try and pull out that gap, see if he can pick up that win on Evo. But Evo seemingly responding to the speed of that Mercedes ahead of him and keeping himself within that crucial 3 seconds as he gets into the braking zone for this downhill right-hander. And you can actually see the Mercedes up ahead getting that carrot on the stick effect and pushing him along as Reynolds and Clone Troop changing positions. I'm going to keep on board with Evo because we really want to see what is going to go on for the win of this race. He's actually just closing that gap down further and further. It's now just over 2 seconds, the gap between himself and Surprise. And through just a couple of corners still remain for the Mercedes and the Ferrari, and Evo has closed that gap in even further. Let's actually switch over to Leopard. Oh, I think Restev or Zero. Oh, Zero's had a disconnect, I think.
Left, yep.
Oh,
yeah.
that is so frustrating for the McLaren driver after an absolutely incredible drive. That's got to be so frustrating for him. In the end, Evo does pick up the win ahead of Surprise due to that lack of penalties. Pinecone has crossed the line. He's going to finish in 3rd position. And Jason, as you predicted, Andy, is going to finish this race in 4th position just purely by having a nice, clean race. Good strategy. It's exactly what you would expect from Jason. That's the exact sort of drive you expect from him, the exact result you expect from him, just outside the podium. Fantastic result for the Haas driver. In fact, fantastic result for Haas in general. They're going to bring home 27 points. That is a huge result for Haas today.
A fantastic performance from the American team. You'll be proud of them. Proud of them, Justin.
Say, can you see?
There you go, Pinecone and P4, great performance for Haas. Jason actually gained the most places of anyone in the race there, come to finish with by gaining 9, I think, in the end. So fine performance for him. Few drivers to be mentioned for driver of the day. Who would you go with, Justin? And who are you going to vote for? Because a few big mentions there. Do you give it to Evo coming from 7th? Do you give it to Jason? Do you give it to Pinecone for such a steady performance? It's hard. It
is actually. Yeah, I gotta say, Pinecone, Evo, Jason. You know, those are kind of the heavy hitters. You got to feel for Surprise because one wheel dipped into the grass too many, and that's the race win for the guy. That's got to be so absolutely frustrating. It's another 2nd place for the Mercedes driver. I gotta say though, I think on this occasion, I gotta give it to Evo for driver of the day. Because again, he was without fault. Jason was also without fault and had more action on track. More all that battling with Clone Troop, which was again fantastic. I got to tip my hat to both of those drivers because that was an incredible performance from the two of them. But I think I got to give it to Evo. He also had a faultless race, but he finished 17.5 seconds ahead of Jason. So the Ferrari driver, in my book, he's going to get driver of the day, or at least my vote for driver of the day. In the end, Leopard finishing in 5th position, so actually that's 35 points to add to Ferrari's Constructor Championship tally. Restev, in the end, finishes in 6th. Still a solid result, I think, for the Sauber driver. MVP 0 in the end, 7th after that disconnect. I'm really feeling for him. I just can only hope he takes away lots of positives from that race. Also, P1R Brown in the end. I mean, remember, he was dead last at one point. Started 2nd to last on the grid and then got overtaken. It was dead last. Ends up bringing home a handful of points. So good for the Williams team and P1R Brown. Clone Troop in the end finishes in 9th after what was a very exciting race for him. And EVR Reynolds picks up the final championship points. So it's 19 points for Mercedes, 35 points for Ferrari, and 27 points for Haas. Again, a fantastic result for the Haas F1 team. But an even better result for Ferrari. 2 drivers in the top 5, one of which picked up the win, of course, as well, too. And speaking of that win, we are joined by Evo. Huge congratulations, sir. I assume you knew Surprise had a 3-second time penalty ahead of you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a really good race. So I finally did some decent quali laps. yeah, got cleanly through the traffic, and yeah, up after that it was just keeping it clean and managing the gap to Surprise and Pinecone at the start of. Yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, Pinecone was doing really well. It took you longer to overtake him than maybe we were expecting, which isn't really a comment on Pinecone and more a comment on you, if I'm honest. But Pinecone did a really good job from second there, and gave you a little bit of a hard time there. But after the pit stop phase, prior to Surprise getting that 3-second time penalty, were you genuinely concerned? Did you think I've lost this race, or were you not giving up? Were you still in it?
I was still pushing to, I don't know which lap. I think it was 26 or something, where I asked my engineer if someone had a penalty, and after I knew Surprise had a penalty, I was just taking it easy because I got 2 warnings on the same lap, and yeah, that was quite unfortunate.
Yeah, Andy actually picked up on those 2 warnings, so we knew you were kind of on your last strike when it comes to those. So we were certainly keeping our eye out for that. The way I put it was, I said you could get a penalty. I just wouldn't bet on it, certainly. So in the end, that ended up being correct. So yeah, we expressed our commiserations to Surprise, because that's got to be so frustrating to be leading the race, putting in that kind of performance, and then that 3-second time penalty. But that's really been the case at multiple points this season. Is just for you specifically, people like you and Jason end up with these incredible results just purely by avoiding any sort of penalties.
Yeah, it might sound harsh, but you need the complete package to win races, and yeah, Jason is always a clean driver, and you see that in his results. But I want to give a huge shout out to Pinecone. He had amazing pace. He didn't even have a penalty after lap 20 or something, but then he picked one up, and that was quite unfortunate for him.
Yeah, truly impressive result. And we do actually have the driver of the day results, and I can give it to you in person once again. Evo, you are the driver of the day. That's 2 weeks in a row now that you've started from, outside the top 5, won the race, and then also gotten driver of the day. So congratulations.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Always good to hear. Actually, I do have the full results. And actually, Leopard got some votes as well too, as did Clone Troop. Clone Troop was actually second, so Clone Troop, for his on-track antics there, I'm sure you'll appreciate that, Andy. Clone Troop got second for driver of the day for all of that battling. Speaking of which, any closing comments or questions for Evo from you, Andy?
I just got to say congratulations again, Evo. Incredible run of form, all these victories, and if it's not a victory, you're on the podium anyway. Looking really strong, a cut above, so disciplined on track, never picking up any penalties, and just coasted home to a brilliant win. You got my vote for driver of the day. You got Justin's vote as well.
Yep.
It was close. I was nearly giving it to Pinecone, as Evo correctly mentioned. Fantastic pace from him as well today, and hopefully he can keep up. But we head to the next one, Justin. We head to Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. I wonder if Surprise on his home track get a victory. We'll have to wait and see. He'll have to take on Evo, take on Simon, and see if he can get the result. But yeah, I'm looking forward to another good race today.
Yep, really enjoyed that one. At times, it was actually impossible to commentate. That's how much was going on. But yeah, huge congratulations to Evo for picking up a 7th win, 3rd win in a row. First time getting 3 in a row this season. Also a 2nd podium for Pinecone as well. And another huge result for the Haas F1 team as well. So huge congratulations to all of our podium sitters, all the good finishers, and everything like that. Again, Clone Troop coming 2nd for driver of the day. Keep at it, buddy. You'll get it one of those days. And thank you, everybody, so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you next week for Surprise's home race, and indeed the home race for a lot of these drivers and teams from Silverstone and the British Grand Prix. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.